Hi everyone, welcome back to the Bubbly Stuffer. This is Vicky. I don't really know what I'm going to say in this video. I've got a few notes, but this is a requested video by Sean Budgets around my net worth. So I posted on Instagram my net worth update, and she said she would like a YouTube video. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to tie it into my 2024 goals and things as well. So for my 2024 goals, I wanted to, now my handwriting's really crap, but anyway, I'm going to show this because this is all I've done and I'm not going to make it pretty. So the tree removal was $1,760, and so we did that, yes, to get the trees removed. The side fence, I said it was going to cost $2,000. We did it, but it cost about $4,000 because we had to redo the drainage and fix everything with that. Pay off the credit card for $5,000, we did that. And then Disney for January 2025, $20,000. We kind of got halfway there because we got to $13,800. We're not going in January 2025. We had decided last year that we were going to move it to around November 2025. Anyway, so that's okay. So that's where we're at with the 2024 goals. So I can put that over there. Now, so for those that haven't watched a video, or this might be your first ever video with me, I'm 42, I'm married, I have a 9-year-old son and a 25-year-old stepson. And I've been married in March 2025 for 20 years. So we've been together a long time. I have always budgeted, but it wasn't until 2022 when I kind of discovered the cash stuffing method. And what really drew me to that was that I thought I was doing a really good job in budgeting, but I never actually reconciled my budget. So I would budget all the time and every dollar had a place, but if I didn't have enough money or if I went over in groceries or something, then it just went on the credit card. But then like there was no money to kind of pay the credit card type thing. And I don't know why I never reconciled a budget, but it just never crossed my mind that that was a requirement to do that. So I thought I'd been doing a really good job, but it wasn't until my husband was a stay-at-home parent when my son was born. And so we went down to one wage, and I had budgeted that we would be able to survive 18 months on one wage, and then he would have to look for a job. After he'd been off work for a period of time, he decided he wanted to start a degree and have a change of career because he was a truck driver and now he works in IT. So he wanted to do a degree, and obviously that took 4 years. So the whole time he never worked, but we made it work. And what really struck me was that how much money we must have been wasting, because it wasn't actually that hard to live off one wage for that time. Sure, like we had to cut down and only make sure we did takeout once a week and things, and had to think before we did a few things, but it really surprised me how much easier it was than I thought. And the biggest thing that surprised me was that I had a flexi loan, which is very similar to a credit card. Well, it's like the bank sells it to you as a personal loan, but once you make the payment, you can draw the money back off. And the first year that we went on to one wage, I worked out that we paid $8,000 off this flexi loan, but the balance didn't change at all because every time I made a payment, I drew it back out. And where did it go? I don't know. We have no idea. There was nothing to show for it. There was nothing that was a massive expense that we needed to do or anything like this, because by this time we had done IVF and everything like that. So we did 7 years of IVF to get my son. And obviously all through that we racked up medical bills and redrew on the mortgage, maxed out credit cards, and that's where the original flexi loan kind of came from, and everything else to do whatever we needed to get the baby. But by this time we had the baby. So there was nothing that we can pinpoint that we actually spent the money on. So after that point and after that realization, what I did was every time I made a payment, I phoned the bank to reduce the limit. So I'd make a $400 payment, I'd phone the bank and reduce $400. So it was forever maxed out, but it meant that I couldn't redraw that money back out and things, which helped immensely to be able to do that. And that obviously then, once that was paid off, that then freed up $400 each pay to then help go towards other things. So yeah, and then my husband ended up getting a job just after COVID, and then we went to 2 incomes, and then in 2022 we tripled our mortgage. We upgraded, we moved house, and we tripled our mortgage. And at that point I'm like, holy shit, how are we going to do this? This was the right house and it's what we wanted to do and things like that. But going from being able to pay the mortgage on one wage and live on one wage to then needing both incomes to pay the mortgage because one income did not cover the mortgage was very eye-opening, and I needed to revisit something, and that's when I found cash stuffing. So since then I've been tracking our net worth, and I loosely followed Barefoot Investor. And so Scott Pape from Barefoot Investor says that you should have 60% to daily expenses, 20% to fire extinguisher, 10% to splurge, and 10% to smile. When I first started tracking this, our daily expenses were 101%, which kind of makes sense as to why we were going backwards and why I never felt like I'd make a payment but then draw the money back out, because our expenses exceeded our income. At this time we were on one wage, and we were paying daycare. So daycare is obviously very expensive. And so it was the last year of daycare that I found Barefoot Investor. And so by reducing daycare, and even though my son goes to a private school, our daycare, like the fees, decreased by a third, because daycare was about $14,000 a year and private school for prep was $4,500. So it was like getting a pay rise. So that, plus the fact that my husband got a job as well, so then we had an income coming in. Now, he started as a graduate, and his employer is like, at 40, your income is going to only be a graduate's wage. Are you sure you want this job? And he's like, well, I haven't had an income for 4 years. And it was a change of career. You've got to start somewhere. So, yeah. But now, within 4 years, he's pretty much doubled his income from that point. So we are truly blessed. And now, I've just worked it out, our daily expenses are 65% of our income. Our splurge, we don't do anything to fire extinguisher, because fire extinguisher is like extra debt repayments. We're not in that position at this point in time to make extra debt repayments. We're just making the minimum mortgage repayments that we need to. and the rest is trying to build up an emergency fund, 6 months worth of expenses and things like that to get yourself covered should something happen. And then at that point, I will reassess to see whether we make extra debt repayments. But at this point, we're not doing that. So 4% into splurge, 4% into smile, which is stuff like holidays and things like that. And then 27% of our income goes to binders and saving for the future and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we're at now. And I thought I would show you what I do. And this is real figures, but I have blacked out a few things. So I am not as technical as debt-free Jessie, who can show you the screen that this is all on and everything. So I'm old school, had to print, and hopefully you can see all this. Yep. So this is 2022. So assets, we had our car. Now I know cars are depreciating value. So some people include it, some people don't. I've been consistent and included the car the whole way through. So whether I include it or whether I don't, it's not going to change my percentage amounts, and my car value does not fluctuate at all. It is $25,000 for both our cars. So you can include it, you not include it, I don't really care. But yeah. So what we did in 2022 was that we had our house, which was this loan here, and then we drew the equity out of that house to then purchase this house, which is what we're in now. And then we sold this house. So we drew the equity out, we purchased this house in April, and then we sold this house in June. So then we had nothing. And then we purchased an investment property in September. And that is what my in-laws currently live in and things. So that is how that worked. But we essentially tripled our mortgage. And I sat there thinking, holy shit, what have we done? Because we've gone from a debt position in January of 475 to December of 1.2 mil. So yeah. And I just track this each month. So I come in at the end of each month and put the figures in here. And so we've got assets, savings, retirement, and then debt, and then where things are at. So in 2022, we ended the year with 1.275 in assets. In savings, we had 23,752. In superannuation, we had 346,870. And then in debt, we had 1.133 mil in debt. So this is the debt position. So at the end, in January, we had 296,000. So essentially 300,000 in debt. To December, we had 1.133 in debt. So our net position went from January of 520,458 to 511,720. So it actually went down, but that's because we increased our debt so much. Straight up. So our debt was home loan 1, home loan 2. So the home loan 1 ended up being the investment loan in the end, and home loan 2 is our home loan. My husband's HECS debt, I had a HECS debt, and then we did have a car loan, but we paid that off when we sold the house. So that was 2022. Then we move on to 2023. And then so in 2023, again, I've got the cars in there at 25,000 the whole time. Now, the investment property I have in there, I check it each month with on realestate.com, and I go off the value of realestate.com. Whether that's right or not, but for months it didn't move. So from here, like from April 2022 until October 2023, the price did not move. It was still what we paid for it. Okay. But so then in October it started to move, and then November it moved, December it moved again. So that's when the market started to really take off. And same with the investment property as well. Okay. So that was there. This is all our savings account. So at the beginning of January in 2023, we had 24,640. The end of December, we had 22,225. So we went down in savings. And then retirement, we went from 356,505 to 399,096. So we went up. And then debt went from 1132,650 to 1113,602. So debt went down like 20,000. It's so sad when, like, because we'd been in our other house for 15 years, because with a home loan you pay a lot of interest up front, and so when you're making your payments, not much is coming off the principal because a lot of it's going to interest. So we were in a position where a big portion of our payment that we were making on our old home loan was going to principal. Now we're back to the point where we're paying more interest, and each month we're going down like only $1,000, which is so sad when we're paying a lot more than that. And my HEX debt got cleared in 2023, so I don't have a HEX debt anymore. And my husband's went down from 26,000 to 23,000. So in 2023, we started a net position at 523,495, and we ended with 744,719. Then we move on to 2024 even. And so you can see the property just keeps going up and up and up, and then it's come back down in December. So December is the first month that the properties have started to come back a bit. But so January, our asset position, I don't do these assets together, but anyway, so our asset position for the top box was 1.429 mil, and then it ended at 1.586 on there. And so our savings started at 18,730, and we ended at $38,192. Our supers started at 399,118, and we've ended the year at 489,906. So that's pretty good with compounding interest and our contributions going in. That's like 90 grand. That's heaps good. So that'll keep going. And then our debt position was 1.117930, and we are 1090103. So I would love to get down to under $1 million, but that's not going to happen next year either. But my HEX debt's gone, the credit card is gone now as well, and Adrian's HEX debt has down from 23,580 to 17,573. I did just make a payment after I did this though, so it's now 17,500. But that is going to go before June next year. That will go. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is they say that mortgage stress if you're in mortgage stress, it's your mortgage repayments are greater than 30% of your income. So with just the home loan, we are at 25.64% of our income goes to the mortgage repayments. Now with the investment loan, we have it is negatively geared, so we have to pay extra onto that each month. Our in-laws do not pay sufficient rent to cover the mortgage, so we have to pay an extra $1,200 a month towards that. So that then is 7.61%. So this is home loan, this is IP, and so this then goes to 33.25% of our income goes towards property. So if you include both properties, we are in mortgage stress. If you include just the home loan, we are not technically in mortgage stress. But given the price of property and everything else, I don't believe there would be too many people that are not in mortgage stress or heading towards mortgage stress. And I did see on the news last night that there's now a provider, there's only one at the moment, but there is now a provider that is looking at doing a 40-year mortgage to help with the cost. Obviously, you would pay more interest on a 40-year mortgage, but it would bring down the repayments and increase your ability to borrow so that people could get in and purchase properties, whereas at the moment on a 30-year term, the cost of properties is prohibitive for the vast majority of people. So, yes. So I'm happy to answer any other questions. If you want, just write them below and I'll go. So what I did put on Instagram, for those of you that are not on Instagram, and again, this is just crappy handwriting, is that our net worth went up in 2023 by 41%. In 2024, it went up 37%. Our savings in 2023 went down 9.8%. It went up 71.83% in 2024. My super went up 9.92% in 2023. And then this year it went up 28.78%. Hubby super went up 17.66% in 2023, and it's gone up 25.31%. Now, we've got the same amount of growth on supers and stuff, but because he's got a smaller balance than mine, obviously his percentage is higher from that. Hex for hubby went down in 10.49% in 2023. It went down 25% this year. And then my hex went down 100% in 2023. We don't have that this year. And then this year our credit card went down 100%. I didn't track that last year because it was going up. So last year it would have went up like 50% because I did pay it off in 2022. But I didn't put that in there. And then our home loan, I've done the loan value and then the property value. So the loan value went down 1.43% last year, and then this year it went down 1.69%. The property value last year went up 10%. It's gone up 9.79% this year. And then on the investment property, we paid off 1.24% last year. This year we paid off 1.42%. The property value went up last year of 17.71%, and then this year it went up 11.68%. So that is our snapshot in a quick snapshot. And the net worth in 2022 went down. What have I got here? 1.71%. So I didn't track everything in 2022. I just did the net worth, which went down 1.71% because we tripled our mortgage. But if you have any other questions or would like to know anything else, just ask them below and I will try and answer them for you. This is not financial advice. This is just sharing my position of what I've been through and what worked for us, and tracking it. And a lot of it has to do with how well the investment market's gone with the super and the property market has gone with the values of our properties. But you need to work out what works for you. And this is why these things, like I was hesitant to post figures because everyone goes, oh, my super's only 100,000, and like I've done very well. Like I have been on a great income for the vast majority of my career, and for somebody that's 42, I have 350 odd thousand in super and things. So I understand that's a very privileged position and stuff, so which is why I've been hesitant to share figures, but I am sharing because Sian asked for them, so please don't hate me. But this is why I think percentages are better, because then you're comparing yourself against yourself. Do not compare yourself against others and things, because you're in a different position. Like when I first started tracking like the barefoot method, like I said, our expenses were 101%. We were going backwards. So we have come a long way, and it depends. If you are paying for daycare is hideously expensive. And all I can say is once you finish daycare, even if you choose to send your kids to a private school, you are going to get a pay rise, because private school is so much cheaper than daycare. And it just all kind of fell into place at that time for us, in that daycare finished, private school started, my husband got a job and things like that. And then that's all skyrocketed us through this position that in the last couple of years we've been able to do this. But prior to that, we were just like those ducks where your feet are going like this and you look calm on top, but underneath you're going, holy shit, how am I going to pay for this and that? And I don't understand how I'm supposed to pay for anything. But anyway, that's enough waffle from me. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know, put them in the chat below and I will come back to you. Thank you very much and see you in the next one. Bye.